Good evening, everyone. Welcome to episode number 3 of Ball Society Live, coming to you on location in beautiful downtown Athens, Tennessee. My name is David Morrison, and we are less than 1 week after the Bowling Green game, and now we are on the road to take on the Pittsburgh Panthers. We're going to run down what happened last week with the Bowling Green game. I'll talk about my game day experience up there in Knoxville. Then we will talk about Pitt, what to expect in this game. Of course, this is the Johnny Majors Classic, and we will run through some news and notes on Johnny Majors and his career and what's this weekend means so much for Coach Majors and stuff. We'll also talk about Joe Milton. That's been the big discussion from ball fans this week is Joe Milton, is he all hype or is he worth the hype? So we will talk about Joe Milton, and then we will turn the show over to you, and we will ask some questions. So go ahead and start commenting on about anything Tennessee football or Tennessee athletics in general, and we will answer that too. We have a Facebook page, facebook.com/UT Ball Society, as you see scrolling at the bottom of the screen. 3,400 followers right now. Thank you very much. Please tell all ball fans from far and near about Ball Society, and let's continue to grow this thing. I'm very excited about it. We are also the home of Brad's reactions. As you saw over the weekend, Brad posted his reaction to the Bowling Green game. It was a fairly positive video compared to other ones. Hopefully we'll continue with more somewhat positive videos. It had over 7,000 views, almost 7,500 just in less than a week. And it just tells you how much the Ball Society is growing all over social media. Speaking of social media, we are making our YouTube debut. So hello to everyone watching us on YouTube tonight. This is our debut episode. This is the Ball Society. Please subscribe to our YouTube page. That's where you'll see Brad's reactions, and you will see this show each and every Wednesday night. All right, let's go ahead and I'll talk about the Bowling Green game, kind of tie a bow on it, and then we'll jump into Pitt. So I went to the game last Thursday night, obviously. I left around 3:30 where I live. And got up there around 4:30, about around the time the ball walk happened. Great crowd on hand, and just arriving on campus and turning off the exit by UT Hospital and turning left at the red light by the Tennessee River. If you've been to UT, you know where it's at. Seeing my first tailgate tent there, playing cornhole, cooking out, grilling out, whatever, I knew college football was back. And then going on, turning left into UT campus, seeing more tailgating and the fans and the students. It was just absolutely marvelous to see as far as just college football goes. And the crowd, while it was a lower crowd, which I kind of expect about around 80,000, I think the attendance was like 87,000. I thought the crowd was very hyped throughout the whole game. Kudos to the student section. They sold out the Bowling Green game in the student section, and they were there until I left. I left around when Chase McGrath kicked the field goal and went up 31-6, and I started to head back to the parking lot. But they were still in the crowd. They were still cheering. They were dancing, and DJ Star the Pearl was continuing to entertain. So kudos to the student body for sticking around. And then I love the new firework display. Kind of has like almost a WrestleMania feel, shooting the pyro off the stadium. So that was kind of funny to see. It was just a fantastic night. I thought the team played fairly well. I know some folks, particularly in the gambling world, I don't gamble myself. I'm clueless with that. They were kind of upset about the point spread. We didn't match it at 35. But we did win by 32 points, so I'm okay with that. I'm happy with that. If it was like a 10-point win, I would have been a little concerned. But we took care of business, and we did a good job. All right, let's switch over to well, before we get to Pitt, let's talk about Joe Milton because that's been the big discussion. I thought Joe Milton looked comfortable running the offense. It seemed like he knew what he was doing. I thought, he's a big physical quarterback. I mean, he really stands out among the team. But like I said, my concern is him kind of holding on the ball too long. And thankfully, Bowling Green didn't bring a lot of pressure to him. So he didn't, well, besides the fumble he had, but he didn't throw an interception Thursday night. But him holding on the ball too long and then also overshooting some of the receivers, particularly Cedric Tillman. Like I said, that's a little concerning, and we're taking on a tougher team at Pitt. So my question to y'all on Facebook and YouTube, I'm seeing your comments coming in right now for Brad and Paul. Is Joe Milton, did we overhype him? Do you think we overhyped him, or was it, or is he still the guy? Because it's going to be interesting to see what Josh Heifel does this weekend, because the backup Heaton Hooker has 2 career starts against Pitt when he was at Virginia Tech, and I have his numbers right here. In 2019 and 2020, Heaton Hooker had 2 starts. He was, and this is both games combined, he was 23 for 35 for 413 yards, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception. So you have a quarterback on your roster that has played them 2 years in a row. So if Milton doesn't work out, do you think you go to the experience in a Heaton Hooker, almost kind of like a relief pitcher in baseball who has pitches against the team? So, but it's going to be interesting. And I think some of y'all are, some of the comments are saying that, he's their guy. So I think he is the guy. And all honestly, if you had to get an answer, I think he is the right guy. It's just going to be interesting if he can get the ball out a lot quicker against a Pitt team that's a lot more experienced than Bowling Green. So, all right, let's switch over to Pitt. Of course, this is the Johnny Majors Classic, honoring the former Pitt head coach and University of Tennessee head coach. I have some notes on Johnny Majors in general. I'm assuming a lot of our viewers know who Johnny Majors is or have an idea who Johnny Majors is, but I was born during the Majors era, but most of my Tennessee memories kind of took place during the former era, and maybe like the tail end of the Majors era, but I have more memories of the former era. But I do have some notes and some information more about Johnny Majors. Johnny Majors coached at Pittsburgh in his first stint from 1973 to 1976. He won the national championship in 1976, went undefeated when he had Tony Dorsett at running back. And then Tennessee came calling in 1977 when they were looking for a head coach. They relieved Bill Battle at that time. And like I said, Johnny Majors just won a national championship at Pittsburgh. UT legend, runner-up in the Heisman Trophy when he played at UT. And, he took the job. And there is a great podcast to look up. It happened a couple of years ago. It's called A Host of Volunteers. It's a 2-part series of Johnny Majors coming to Tennessee in 1977 and his first year at UT. And it talks about right at the tail end of Bill Battle when they relieved him of his duties, and then Johnny Majors taking the job. So definitely check that out. We'll post if I can find it on the internet. We'll post it on the Ball Society website, and also Ryan McGee, who works at ESPN, who hosts one of the co-hosts of Marty and McGee on the SEC Network. He's a UT alum. He wrote a great article right after Coach Majors passed away about when he was a student at UT and being in the Majors era. And we'll definitely post that on Ball Society to go check out. All right, so let's dig into the Pitt Panthers. Pittsburgh coming off a win last Saturday against UMass, 51-7, the final score in that game. Kenny Pickett, he's a 6-year starter for the Pitt Panthers. And I think I heard this is his 40th career start coming up on Saturday, which is unbelievable to hear, especially because you don't really hear too many college quarterbacks have 40 starts under their belt. But Saturday, he was 27 for 37 for 272 yards, 2 touchdowns. He also had 6 carries for 39 yards. So he's definitely a dual threat quarterback to watch out for. He's been there. He's done that. He's won some big games on the road. He beat Clemson, I think in 2018, if I remember correctly, at Death Valley. This is going to be very interesting. I had a question about Tyon Evans. Have you heard if Tyon Evans is playing or not? As far as I've read, he is going to play. I know there was some discussion about if he was or not, but great question. As far as what I've heard, he is going to play. And keep these questions coming, and I'll try to answer. I don't have to just necessarily break down the game and then answer questions, but I'll definitely, towards the end of the show, we'll definitely take some more of your questions. But thank you for asking that one. Continuing on with some of the players, they have a freshman running back named Ronnie Hammond. He was their leading rusher last week. As a matter of fact, they used a lot of guys last Saturday. But Ronnie Hammond had 8 carries for 45 yards. Vincent Davis had 6 carries for 32 yards and a touchdown. A.J. Davis also had a touchdown for them. So the 2 Davis running backs and Hammond, I think, is going to get a lot of touches. Also, they have kind of a Mr. Everything gadget player named Shockey Jacques Louis. He had 4 carries for 31 yards. They use him a lot of wide receiver sweeps and he reminds me a lot of when Isaiah McKenzie played at Georgia. So definitely going to have to keep our eyes out when he takes the field on Saturday. Pickett threw to a lot of receivers also. I noticed there was there's probably like 8 or 9 guys he targeted to, and I think all of them got receptions. Lucas Cruel, he's a transfer from Florida. I couldn't find any stats if he played against us when he was at Florida. But anyways, on Saturdays he had 5 catches for 58 yards and a touchdown. So it seems like that is Kenny Pickett's go-to guy. So definitely going to have to watch out for him. To me, their offense reminds me a lot of South Carolina, how they run their offense. They will probably set like 2-3 receivers out at a time and have a running back, and they do a lot of dink and dunk passes, and they will probably do a lot of halfback draw. So I feel very confident as far as our defense goes of maintaining possibly this Pitt offense, because it reminds me a lot of South Carolina's. As far as switching over to Tennessee goes, like I said, last Saturday against Bowling Green, Joe Milton, 11 for 23, 139 yards. He also had 14 carries for 44 yards and 2 touchdowns that he scored. So, like I said, the discussion is the completion percentage and possibly raising that passing yardage up a lot more. So we shall see. I think, like I said, I think it's going to be a big game for him if everything clicks. Because I love everything about this team. I love the running backs. Tyon Evans played very well. 16 carries, 120 yards. Javari Small, 22 carries, $117 and a touchdown. And Evans and Small, I read this week, are the first Tennessee players to both rush over 100 yards in a single game since John Kelly and Josh Dobbs did it like 2-3 years ago. And which is crazy to think, because we had Ty Chandler and Eric Gray for a couple of years, and neither one of them both eclipsed 100 yards in a single game. So that really kind of surprised me too. Marcus Pierce is a running back that I forgot to mention in my preview, but he had some playing time Thursday night, 8 carries for 36 yards. So, and I believe he's a walk-on, if I'm not mistaken. So it seems like Coach Heifel and this offensive staff really loves him. And then the freshman Jalen Wright had 4 carries for 14 yards. So I expect to see him get some more touches against Pitt this weekend. Receivers, Jalen Hyatt was our leading receiver Thursday night, 4 catches for 62 yards, but he had 2 big drop passes, especially one right over the middle, and he kind of juggled it, and it just kind of frustrating to see. And that was kind of, like I said, I love the first and third and fourth quarter of Thursday night, but that second quarter was just kind of agony to watch. I mean, so like I said, so you mentioned that Hyde, if he doesn't have the two drops and Milton hits one of them bombs, we're saying Joe has a good game. You're right. I mean, that's the crazy part is just like we talk about him overshooting the receivers at times, and then but then Hyatt, I think those two should have been caught definitely. But that's the thing we're going to have to keep an eye on. Cedric Tillman had 2 catches for 48 yards. I know we mentioned, he overshot Tillman in the end zone in the game. And honestly, I'm kind of surprised that Tillman was getting targeted a lot more than usual because we kept hearing about Velvis Jones, Velvis Jones has had a nagging injury since fall camp. And we saw him do special teams, his kickoff return duties, which he looked great doing it, but he didn't get targeted as much. So I kind of wonder if he's not fully at 100%. And maybe that's why Tillman got a few more targets. But then again, they may love him too. Princeton Fan, also the tight end for Tennessee, he had a couple of receptions for 14 yards. So very interesting to see what Coach Heifel and the offense is going to draw up for Pitt on Saturday. Switching to defense, Tim Banks, who's our defensive coordinator, and I didn't think about it until now that when he was the defensive coordinator at Penn State, they played Pitt like 4 years in a row, and there went my poster. Hopefully you catch that. If not, follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/UT Vol Society 3500 growing. Switching to defense, Tim Banks, defensive coordinator at Penn State, played Pittsburgh. They had like a 4-game series, like a home and away series. And I think he was defensive coordinator, I think, for 2 or 3 of those games. So he has experience on this Pitt offense. And I think that's going to be big key for us. Theo Jackson, 6 tackles, led the way for Tennessee. Great to see Theo having a big game. Hopefully he continues to have a great season. Alontae Taylor had a nice game, 4 tackles for him. Jalen McCullough had 3 tackles. I really thought he should have, whenever McDonald threw the pass to the player's feet, I really thought that should have been a fumble or at least intentional grounding at worst. But, man, we could have had a scoop and score with Jalen McCullough, and that could have really blown that game up in the first quarter. But it is what it is. But good to see him have a good game. William Mohan, the transfer from Michigan, had 3 tackles. I wasn't expecting him to play too much, but he did, and I'm glad to see him too. Jeremy Banks, 3 tackles, and then Dejon Terry, the transfer from Kansas, with a sack, and Tyler Barron with a sack. So I really love this defense. This defense has really won me over. Tim Banks had a great game planned against Bowling Green for the most part. Second quarter was kind of iffy, but for the most part, I thought the rest of the way he did a fantastic job, and kudos to Tim Banks, Ronnie Garner, Willie Martinez, and that entire defensive staff. And hopefully we can continue to pour that on Saturday. So we mentioned the Pitt game Saturday, 12 o'clock on ESPN. Dave Pasch, Dusty Dvorak, and Tom Luganbill will be on the call. And I think this is a very sneaky game as far as like on a national level. I mean, we're going up right against Ohio State and Oregon on Fox. So I'm sure a lot of casual viewers may tune into that game, but I think our game can get a lot of interest too from a national level, because not only for us, because we're trying to go undefeated into the swamp and have a big game, big showdown with Florida in a couple weeks, but you look at Pittsburgh. They now have a shot to win the Coastal Division because of what happened with North Carolina Friday night against Virginia Tech. It's going to be interesting to see who's going to win that Coastal, and teams like Pitt and Virginia Tech and Miami. Despite Miami losing to Alabama, that's obviously not going to hurt them in the conference standings. But they're now chomping at the bits to get North Carolina. So I would love for Tennessee to kind of come out there and kind of expose the Pitt Panthers. Kay asked, don't you think Milton is slow before he throws? He stands and waits. What do you think? I'm worried. Pitt may be a bunch. I hope not. Go Balls. Good question. It's kind of funny because I was watching Milton And I don't know, this is probably not the best comparison, but Milton kind of reminds me of when I played Madden football, because I'll stand in the pocket and wait for my receivers to get open. Now, granted, I'm not a great Madden player, never really have been, but you know, if I put it on a difficulty level where I'm comfortable with, I'll stand in the pocket too and let them get open. But you know, it was kind of funny just watching that. I think, and I think Milton is probably still trying to learn where the routes of the receivers, where they're still going. I mean, it's kind of easy to throw. Well, easy for a college quarterback to throw a 5-yard pass out to the sideline or maybe a slant over the middle, but then you're waiting for that receiver to make that cut. And I think he's probably still trying to pick up that offense a little bit. And like I said, you're taking on an entire different team with an entire different scheme. It's not the first team defense you're going up against. So we shall see. Like I said, this is a big game this weekend. There's some great games all across college football this weekend. Not only our game and Ohio State and Oregon, you got the battle for the Cyhawk Trophy between Iowa and Iowa State, where College Game Day is going to be. Texas and Arkansas is a big game that night. SEC Nation is going to be there in Fayetteville. Mississippi State, NC State's another SEC versus ACC battle. Two teams that also trying to prove themselves this season. So this is, like I said, this is a very sneaky, underrated game this weekend in college football. Obviously, when you turn on game day, I'm sure will probably be the one of the Saturday selection games, but a lot of folks is going to be talking about Ohio State and Oregon and Iowa State and Texas, Arkansas. But like I said, this game, if you want a good competitive game this weekend, definitely check out our game because I think it's going to be close. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and give you my score prediction and leave in the comments what you think. So I'm going to be the bearer of bad news. I think this is going to be a close game, a competitive game. I think Tennessee's going to do well, but I'm actually picking Pittsburgh 31, Tennessee 27. I think it's going to be a close game, a disappointing loss, but I think you're going to see a lot of promise and more optimism from this Tennessee fan base and from this coaching staff than we've had in the previous regimes. Question coming in: why do we rotate linebackers so much? Page has silly buses. Do you anticipate Mitchell and Banks? Are there more against Pittsburgh Saturday? That's a possibility. I think with Bowling Green, where we're just trying to throw a lot of guys out there and just seeing who might fit the scheme. I think with a game like Pittsburgh, you'll probably see a more set core of players, especially at linebacker, especially because Juwan Mitchell is the middle linebacker. He's the quarterback of that defense. So I expect Mitchell to stay in there quite a bit. I think Banks will stay in there. Even maybe Mohamed, since he had 3 tackles last week, he may get a start. So I definitely see more set players with a few rotations here and there. But to me, I trust Heifel. If whoever the hot player is, he's going to stick with them. Brad's going to have his prediction on Friday for the game. I can't wait to check that out. All right, so let's turn the show over to y'all. Any questions so far? I know we've had a few we've answered, but we'll take the next 10 minutes or so to answer some questions and anything else about this weekend, maybe the season. And like I said, keep these comments coming. And like I said, our viewership is growing, and thank you for tuning in tonight. So, yeah, any other questions? As far as I know, for me, I don't want to get too much into my private life on here, but I have got to figure out a thing at work coming up this weekend. And so as far as I know, I should be up there this weekend unless something crazy happens. So I'll just say that. Brian says, what do you think the key is to winning this game Saturday? Well, since it's appropriate enough, it's the Johnny Majors Classic. I'll take a quote from Johnny Majors. Attack, attack, attack. I think this is going to be, like I said, if you want to make Pitt one-dimensional, you got to attack. Like I said, to me, Pitt doesn't really have much of a running game, but if we attack Kenny Pickett, force him to make some mistakes, some turnovers, I think Pitt can be very one-dimensional offense. Now, like I said, it's going to be a tall task because kid's got almost 40 starts in college football. So, like I said, he's been there and done that, played in some tough road environments. But if we attack him and throw some disguises out at him, I think that's going to be a key factor right there. And then a continued attack with them running backs. I love seeing Evans doing good, and also Javari Small. Was it surprising that Pierce got in and got the carries before D Beckwith? Yeah, I was kind of surprised too seeing that. Like I said, because all we've kind of heard throughout fall camp is D Beckwith and Whitehead, and of course after Small and Evans. So yeah, seeing Pierce come in there, I heard that he was a walk on and he beat T Hodge in the depth chart, and they seemed to like him. But I just thought, okay, well he just beat T Hodge, and that's why he transferred. But yeah, I was surprised he kind of come into the game. So they obviously they see something in him that they really love. Good question. Any others? Yeah, just like I said, thank you so far for coming in. Oh, I skipped a question up here. Lane Kiffin's boys and Ole Miss was doing their thing. Yeah, Ole Miss had a big game against Louisville this past week, Monday night, and they put up a lot of numbers. So, even though Kiffin wasn't there because he had a positive COVID test, it's going to be they're going to be an interesting team to watch this season. And we will see them on October 16th in Neyland Stadium, and I cannot wait for that game. And I can't wait for Ball Society Live at Wednesday night to preview that game. It should be a lot of fun. It's going to be like a real life game of Madden football. You think we'll break 100,000 fans on Saturday? Honestly, probably not, because of the noon kickoff, and which after I'll tell you a quick story, then I'll get to the Brad's question. I don't mind going to night games. I think they're fun, they're energetic. Crowds are obviously a lot more hype for obvious reasons. But I didn't get back into town to my house. I pulled in my driveway at 1:30 in the morning on Friday. So, granted, it is 8 o'clock kickoff, but if it was pushed back an hour to 7, it would have been 12:30. So, like I said, for I guess as I've gotten older and going to the games more, like the noon games, I kind of enjoy a bit more. But I can see like young college kids, getting up early and going to a game and trying to get hyped up while you're still kind of battling sleep and possibly partying the night before. So, and even some fans who the hardcore tailgaters, some of them really prefer the night game. So I think we can get 90. 100,000 is really going to push it. For all the NFL talks around Andy Pickett, his best season was 13 touchdowns and 9 interceptions. Do you suspect we get any interceptions on Saturday? If so, who do you think will come from? Great question. I think McCullough looked really good. I mean, he was knocking some balls down Thursday night. Also, I think Latae Taylor can possibly do it. I want to see if Brandon Turners can get into the rotation too, because we didn't see a lot of him Thursday night. So be nice if we can get him. Will you be broadcasting at the game? As far as I know, I will be there. Like I said, I got a situation with work. I got to make sure everything's good to go on that end. So I don't want to get too exposed of my job. But I'll just say, as far as I know, I should be there. And if there, I will definitely continue to do the videos, and I might show the ball walk, but I'm definitely going to kind of switch things up and kind of show y'all some different things about Neyland Stadium and around the University of Tennessee campus, and little history and anecdotes and stuff. So definitely check that out. Any others? It's been great so far. We've gone a half an hour, and it doesn't feel like it. Hopefully, you're all enjoying kind of this new format with the graphics and stuff, and we should be back into the old studio next week. We had to rent this one out tonight. I say, don't forget, check us out on Facebook, facebook.com/UT Ball Society. Also, check us out on YouTube. I think we got like 50 subscribers right now. Let's see. Another question. Do you think Heifel will be the guy? We've gone through so many coaches. So curious. I think this is going to be a big first year for Josh Heifel. If he comes out and at least gets us to a bowl game and we're competitive in Florida, Bama, Georgia, not getting blown out by 30 points, then yeah, I think he is the guy. It seems like the kids really love him, and I mentioned this in the preview video. The morale seems to be a lot looser, a lot more fun. They're not kind of scared that they're going to get jerked out of the lineup fairly quickly if they make a mistake. And like I said, I think it'll be fine. The only thing I had a concern Thursday night was I did not like how we did our clock management towards halftime and calling the timeout with 1 second to go. I thought that was a little bit questionable. But I really am a positive about Josh Heifel. And this may be the thing that we didn't – I don't want to say Heifel is not a big name coach. He's a named coach that has experience, but a lot of people didn't really kind of say anything about the Heifel hire, and maybe just because of been there, done that. But we shall see. Any word on Byron Young? I felt like we may have posted something about that this week. Brad may have to help me out on that one. I think he is going to play on Saturday. So I apologize. I can't think of it off the top of my head. I remember seeing it this week, and I'm not recalling right now. I'm pretty sure he is. I know he was trying to get some clearances from the junior college that he was at. And like I said, I'm pretty sure that's all good now. All right, any other questions? I was impressed with Small. Hope he gets better. Okay, Brad says we expect him to play. Thank you, Brad, for that. Because I remember seeing that because we posted it earlier. Okay, Heifel mentioned in the press conference Monday. Okay, thank you. Kay says she's impressed with Small. Hope he gets better. I do too. I really like Javari Small. I really love both running backs. I mean, they shot out of the cannon right as soon as they touched the ball. And where I was sitting, you may have saw my picture, I was in kind of the southeast corner of the end zone and kind of can see it from a peripheral view. But man, and like he just shot out and just running very hard. So these running backs, I think, have done a fantastic job, and we are not hurting from losing Ty Chandler and Eric Gray by no means. All right, it's been 34 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and kind of wind it down. Thank you very much for coming on Ball Society Live tonight. Like I said, still trying to get everything situated. I think we're getting in the right trend. Thank you for all the questions, and thank you to our viewers on YouTube. First show we've done on there. Like I said, we're growing each and every day. Once again, follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/UT Ball Society. 3,500. Let's get there, boys and girls. I cannot wait. Once again, my name is David Morrison. I am the Ball Society Analyst. Like I said, check us out. Check out Brad's videos. Over 7,000, closing in on 7,500 on the Bowling Green game. Hopefully we can get another one and eclipse that even more. So once again, thank you for joining us tonight. We'll see you on Saturday for the Pitt Panthers, 12 o'clock on ESPN. Also, I should mention this too. I just read today that if you have ESPN radio, whether on satellite radio or on the app, our game will be broadcast nationally on ESPN radio. And, of course, you also have Bob Kessling on the Ball Radio Network, too. So, once again, thank you for joining us tonight. We'll see you back here next Wednesday night for Ball Society Live as we preview the Tennessee Tech game. Until then, David Morrison saying good night and go Balls.